Chi. Get the yayo.
Get the yayo.
Well, after what has been one of the most pathetic and embarrassing chapters of a rapper's career that we have ever seen, Drake has finally released the collab album that he has been hyping up with Party Next
He tripping with the MJ joke, right?
Just came out. What is already so clear is that this is Drake's first album release since losing everything to Kendrick Lamar in their beef, and of course following so many other problems that he has created. In terms of what Drake should be trying to prove, the stakes have never been higher, but in this time where if this album fails, Drake is more than done forever, let me put this into perspective from the fact that Kendrick Lamar told him to stop rapping as he likes Drake with the melodies, and he did just that here, to also the fact that Kendrick made fun of him for abandoning his own city's music scene in pursuit of the biggest trends on Not Like Us. And now he has ran back home and is making this album all about where he is from, and of course it's an actual collab project with an artist from there in Party Next Door.
It's like crazy, like Kendrick is really controlling this man's career at this point.
Yeah, the narrative.
Do whatever he want to do. That, like, I'm gonna say something about something over here to make you go over there. He's reacting to everything that's Kendrick saying instead of just being himself and doing what he's been doing.
He has such foresight in the situation.
Yeah.
Because even when everything was going down, the stuff that he was saying would be applied to where he currently is.
Yeah.
So it was just like everything was set up, just
almost like chess.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like a chess game.
Yeah.
Just from the optics of what this album is representing, it is just showing that in this time where Kendrick Lamar has never made Drake look worse, that Drake is just folding even further, as his moves here are managing to make Kendrick's diss tracks just become even more true, and this is especially seen by the fact that on day one of this album coming out, it has already gotten Drake in so much controversy, not just for the music, but also because Drake straight up stole and copied from other rappers' entire creative visions and albums to make and define this record in the first place, and seemingly because of this and so much more, aside from Drake's little corner of delusional fans who still want to stay in the same sad place that he is, everyone else hates this.
That is a bad look though. He straight copy from Freddy Gibbs. With the album cover, we know Freddy Gibbs had the bunny and the dollar signs. He had the $3 signs. I think it was called Soul Separately, and then Drake named his some sexy something.
Sexy songs for you.
Yeah. Something like that. Which I thought was crazy. Then the picture was they stole that too from a young guy in Toronto who said Party Next Door had called him, asked him about his vision, and after he told him about his whole vision, he never heard from Party Next Door again.
And it's wild because they used to have
integrity
creative teams. You know what I'm saying? And it'd be one thing to have something that you get from a creative and use it, but you give them credit. You give them credit for the conception of the idea. He ain't been doing that. He's just been like, I like that.
It seems like the game is now becoming, or it's probably always been, but now it's just more noticeable.
Yeah, you can see it now
because of social media, that the bigger artists are taking from the smaller artists. They think nobody knows or whatever know that this came from them, but because of the internet, people find out quickly.
That's what XXX Tentacion was talking about.
You got a point there. Exactly what you're talking about with Drake.
Thing. But now, before we go any further into this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe.
All that.
So now when it comes to Drake's first album since this beef, which we are going to call SS for You from here, because even compared to all of the other drawn out, long, and cringy titles Drake has used in the past, this ranks among the very worst. So far, this album is just creating more problems than you could possibly imagine, and for all of the most embarrassing reasons, because despite Drake in reality having so many different things and experiences he has been through in this all-time low in his career, and any half-decent artist can turn this into multiple albums and experiences worth of material and songs. The subject matter and content that Drake talks about here manages to rival an album as laughable as For All the Dogs, as his most immature. Because when the stakes have never been higher and when Drake has never been in a more pivotal position for the future of his legacy as a rapper and artist and for his career in terms of the industry, he has decided to switch up that mentality from taunting Kendrick Lamar and telling him to drop music over and over again. And now he's trying to tie everything together, including his biggest failures, into these immature narratives that he is trying to push throughout song after song on this album with lyrics like this. And now when it comes to the concept of a creative drought, I think what is very clear is that there is few albums out right now that can even rival this record in that category. Because really, with this album and its 21 tracks, which so many people are saying is making for one of the most tedious listens they have heard in a while, because beyond the quality...
That was the first criticism I had with the album. It was too long. I think he would have got a better reception if he would have took the album to like 15 songs. I was like, he should have threw the other 6 on the deluxe or something.
Yeah, I was thinking 12. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Maybe with some snippets or something leading to the deluxe. You know what I'm saying? It just, the album for me was like, it started out like, okay, you back on your, you know what I'm saying? And then it hit a point that it was enjoyable. Yeah. And I was like, all right, he got some, you know what I mean? Then it hit a point where it's like, damn.
This album's not over. If you watch the reaction, I skipped the last 3 songs. I couldn't take it no more.
I
just skipped the last 3. He was like, did you notice? I'm like, yeah, bro, I can't.
Because it seemed like when he got towards the end of the album, it almost was just like fluff.
Yeah, you could have just got
You didn't even need that.
Nah, facts.
Which is a conversation for later. There is hardly any variety within the beat choices, flows, and voices, and of course the subject matter, because Drake does not want to face reality. And now just putting into perspective how lazy this entire album seems to be. And ultimately how this album, just from existing, is making a song like Not Like Us and everything Kendrick Lamar said seem more true. Comes down to the fact of what Drake did to release this album, which is truly disrespectful to hip-hop and really the entire music in our world. As really, before we go any further into the actual music on this thing, which really may be a favor considering the conversation around this album, right now so many hip-hop heads and people have realized that Drake is never coming back, and even despite the fact that now we have a new album from him, because he doesn't even respect the culture, his peers, or the craft of hip-hop enough to come up with original ideas, he is really in bigger trouble than we could have ever imagined. As from the branding and title of this album, which is riding with the initials of SSS, and that has all been over everything for Drake and Party, to the artwork they have been releasing, like the back cover, which is featuring bunnies, and even on the front cover,
that's the man album, they stole my man.
Smaller rapper is saying that OVO took from him without ever crediting him.
When you see that picture, there's no question where that idea came from.
No.
Definitely stole that from that young man, and somebody needs to send that young man a check for stealing his ideas.
Period, point blank.
Facts.
Overall, with this new album from Drake and Party, it has been discovered that they stole the entire creative direction for this record from other artists, and specifically, with the Rabbits and the whole SSS moniker, they stole this from none other than one of the most respected MCs working today in Freddy Gibbs, as with his 2022 album Sold Soul Separate.
It's crazy when you see him in a video walking around with bunnies, you can't even try to question
like it's
where they got the idea
from. Know where this came from.
Facts. They owe Freddy Gibbs a check too.
Seriously.
From the Rabbits, which are not just his signature trademark, but the album's mascot, to the SSS branding and title, which he made the entire slogan and concept of this record around. All in all, using these two same elements at the front of your record does not just happen by accident. And while Drake fans were trying to defend him and say that this indeed was the case, because in their eyes, and again, these people are not hip-hop fans, they are Drake fans. They are so superficial that they think Freddie is irrelevant and insignificant, and that because Drake is so big, you would have never even heard of the guy. The best part about this all is that after all of the questions around what actually happened here, we got a confirmed story about a time that didn't just...
Well, I guess he heard of the guy.
Yeah, and also...
There go the picture.
I think the guy might talk about it in here. It looked like he's leading to that. But
Bootleg
Kev, I don't know if you've seen it, but Bootleg Kev came out and said him, Freddie Gibbs, and Drake was all at dinner together talking about that album with the bunnies on it. And Drake was supposed to be on the album. He eventually not being on the album, but you can't say it because somebody already put all 3 on the same place talking about that same album.
So you were there from the conception of the idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't not get this man his credit.
Yeah, it's almost like in this picture, like I'm just there to steal your sauce.
Yeah, like it's a difference between it'd be like if we were sitting here brainstorming.
Yeah.
And we coming up with something.
Yeah.
And then I come back the next day and it's all over the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like I be like, yo, didn't we come up with that idea?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what he doing.
No surprise me. Remember we did the video when the beef was going on. We did 20 minutes worth of Drake stealing people's songs.
Yeah, we did.
And then you bring out the XXX, how he stole his flow and his cadence, and then it's just more of the same. It seemed like.
See, but this is because he's gotten into a habit
of doing it, not being called out.
Doing it and not being called out, because the internet, although it was around, it was not moving at the light speed that it is now. Today. Yeah, he could have did this in 2007 or 2012. Nobody would have known for 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
And then by that time, you're looking at his, whatever, if it was a video, it probably have millions of views on it. The artist who idea was might have 1,000 views on it. Yeah. And then who gonna believe that you had this idea? Because the numbers. Yeah. Right. But now it's happening so fast. Before the numbers come back, you got videos up all over the place. People commenting on it. You know what I'm saying?
It's around it and there.
It's a different time.
Yeah.
Confirm that Drake knows who Freddy Gibbs is, as we saw a literal picture of the two together. But we also found out that Drake was supposed to work on music with him, and not just on any record, but for this very album, which had the exact same branding as Drake and Party's record that just dropped. And seemingly Drake was well informed on what the concept and presentation of this thing was gonna be. And so now, solidifying the fact that Drake has now pretty much straight up copied what Freddy did here, and really making this story even crazier, is that Drake also was supposed to and agreed to be on a song for Freddy's project back then, and while Freddy sent him a record that was produced by Pharrell, and keep in mind this was before we knew that Drake was extending his beef with Pusha T to him, as nobody has ever said anything bad about Pharrell because he's one of the nicest guys in the music industry. And then of course Drake never did the song. When we look at this in its entirety with all of this, from the fact that Freddy has been mad.
Why would I do the song with you? You already gave me everything I needed from you. All I had to do is tell you that I'm going to do a song with you. Then you gave me all your creative ideas, and I no longer need you at this point.
Yeah, there's no reason for us to even communicate at this point. I just really just took all your ideas, and I'm gonna run with them.
And I gas you up with a single that I'll get on your album, knowing that me getting on your album is gonna do nothing for me at all.
Yeah, it just sounded good to you at the time.
I know if I told you that,
I could get a feature from Drake.
If I told you that, you give me all your ideas. Yeah, we homies.
Straight up.
That Drake stood him up. To now the fact that he knows that Drake...
But the good thing, Freddy Gibbs said it like a G. Only thing I heard Freddy Gibbs say is like, thank you for the flattery. I know you copy me, but thank you for the flattery. A lot of people be yelling in their phones going off.
I can't believe it. Yeah, he handled that well.
Yeah.
Drake made a conscious decision to make something so similar to his work. I mean, before we even get to the actual music here, it's no surprise why Drake did nothing to win anyone back with this record, and why it's already getting so much backlash, because it's overall trying to stand up and create an aesthetic with another artist's vision. And I mean, if you wanted to try and give Drake the benefit of the doubt here even, as Drake is known for reaching into pockets of hip-hop and stealing other artists' sauce and then fronting it as their own to his fans, and especially he loves doing this with artists who are smaller than him, because with For All the Dogs and then Scary Hours 3, this is exactly what he did with all the Conductor Williams and Alchemist drumless production, as again, he just stole this entire wave of what rappers like Westside, Benny, and Conway popularized, and he really never gave them their proper credit. As really, from the producers he worked with in this era to the...
I can't give people credit. I gotta look like I'm that guy. I gotta look like I'm that man. And other people credit, it takes away from that.
It takes away from my glow. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, it's a weird way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, it's always good to look good, but you look better with your team around you.
Yeah.
He should be building like an amazing squad.
Yeah.
Like, period, point blank. And there'd be nothing wrong with having ideas from here and here and here. You're just like, damn, the team is strong.
Yeah.
But instead, he's so focused on himself. Yeah. He's just cutting heads off. Yo.
Yeah, left and right.
That's why now that this situation is where it is, with everything that's going around with him, it seemed like he on a lone island by himself.
Yeah, definitely looked like he alone. And another reason he don't be saying anything or giving people their credit is because, you know, Drake always talking about I'm one away from Michael Jackson. You can't be having that type of talk and stealing ideas.
Yeah, it's a level of it's past confidence. It's almost a level of arrogance.
Yeah, we never heard of Michael Jackson stealing anything.
Jacket he wore
just
in the
creating
and Charlotte video, that was all from them.
He even stole from Mike. Come on, man. Like, I can't even let it slide. I'm like, I gotta get this one up. He done stole from Mike. Remember we seen him on the when he was walking on the steps, the Billie Jean joint?
Steps like that.
You know what I'm saying? Even in the
when it first started.
In the video you talking about where he was like, I'm one away from Mike, beat it.
Yeah.
He stole the History album cover. With the statue walking in the background. He don't care who he take from.
Overall, with Drake now having so many similarities to another rapper who, while respected in the industry, does not have his popularity and fan base size, I mean, this doesn't just happen by coincidence, and whether Drake thought he could get away with this or he just didn't care at all. Ripping work out of your peers' hands and trying to claim it as your own is what Not Like Us Verse 3 is about as a whole, and why that record worked so well in the first place. And now with all of this, as we are now in a new chapter of Drake's career because he has finally released a new album and he is trying to make some sort of a statement to win people back. While I'm not going to talk about my personal opinion on this record yet because we will be here for way too long, so be sure to leave a like and subscribe to stick around for that. Overall, what is important and what we can tell that is so significant to the entire story of Drake's career and hip-hop is that when it comes to the people who are not your fans, who are making these desperate efforts to support you and try to make this thing not fail, and especially in this time where character matters more than anything, and again, Drake has never been in a worse place because Kendrick Lamar just won 5 Grammys for Not Like Us, and he played it during the most watched Super Bowl halftime show of all time, which speaks for itself in terms of the impact it is having, as Kendrick Lamar and as a result his message have never been seeing a greater impact. All in all, between everything against him, and now the product Drake put out, which is a record built off work from other creatives who actually have talent. Just from hearing this thing once, you can tell that there is no growth or maturity being shown here, and even when it comes to Drake's ability as a hitmaker. So far, there is not a...
It's like with this album, when we first was listening, I kept saying it seemed like Drake's going back to the old Drake. It sounded like he was trying to do what he was doing more when he first came out. It had like that more of a feel on the, or it definitely had that feel to it.
Yeah, and see, I think that's what's making it a complex situation for him. Because you gotta think, most artists when they're putting out, especially their first couple albums, it's passionate. It's everything they've been holding in, nobody listening to. You know what I'm saying? And it's easy to lose sight of who you are at that point. When you reach superstardom. You know what I'm saying? You're not looking at the world the same. That's why I get frustrated when I hear people talk about excuse me, to make my point, the difference between Jay-Z's first album and his later albums. He's a different man.
Yeah, he experienced different things.
He experienced different things.
You're gonna get the best music when people are coming from the struggle and trying to make it. You get different music,
a different outlook
when they made it.
Yeah, because you're not talking about
the block
chicken boxes.
You
know what I'm saying? Now you're talking about tomahawk steaks. It's a different world. But I think it felt like Drake is really trying to find himself. Like in this whole situation, that's the one thing that I can say that I realized, because it's been affecting his music and everything. It's like, where is he going? What is he looking for? What the people want? Is he looking for what he feels is right? I feel like, especially in the beginning of this album, it just seemed like he got to a place where he like, I'm just going to do me. I mean, it turned out a better product.
A single song creating waves and making a moment with people like all of his other albums have in the past, even if that comes from a meme where the music is otherwise lacking, like we saw on For All the Dogs with the collaboration between him and Yeat. And because of this, overall, as Drake puts this record out into one of the most competitive landscapes in the industry that we have ever seen.
Hanging outside like the
stars
Joker.
From Kendrick Lamar, SZA, Bad Bunny, and The Weeknd, to so many others, there are a ton of people seeing super strong performances with their new records. And in Kendrick's case, his entire catalog is doing numbers that Drake could never, as really we have never seen a more successful rapper than Kendrick in this time. Overall, this little R&B album Drake has with Party Next Door that people are dragging for all of these reasons.
That's what somebody really trying to play when they put Little in front of it.
Yeah, I hate that.
This little R&B.
I see a little thing you doing. What?
I see a little YouTube channel.
You see a little YouTube channel. What?
It's crazy.
It's
like a smack in the face.
Like it's going to be able to compete and have any sort of longevity in the industry. And when you see how Drake has presented himself here, and again, in this time where all the music is evolving, and from the sounds we want to hear to the stories we want, artists are pushing the bar forward for what defines greatness. Because again, from Kendrick Lamar to The Weeknd specifically, in their own ways, they have shown what the standard needs to be for an artist and the work they put out in the moment. This album, which has Drake putting people to sleep because it is not moving things forward, just seems like another bad move.
I could honestly say that after we got done with the reaction, that's what I did. I was like, bro, I'm going to sleep.
Yes! Facts!
I had to go knock out for a couple hours after that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot to process.
Move on his hand. And especially now because this record has shown the entire hip-hop world and Drake's peers that he will just blatantly copy your work without any regard, which again is something Freddy Gibbs has now called him out for, as there is no getting around what he has done. Overall, everything is looking terrible for Drake.
And it's wild because I know a lot of people would assume that the artist who's not quite as big calling you out for it is one of them things you just doing. Hey, that's mine. That's mine. Yeah. It's not even. It's like the people will never know.
Yeah, that's what they feel.
They'll never know. Who's going to do the research unless I already got you?
Yeah,
you already a fan.
Yeah,
then you'll know. Yeah. You'll do the research and be like, you see the date, you see the time, you have my back.
Yeah.
But outside of that,
nah, they really.
No one's ever going to know. And even if they don't know me and they come across my material,
they're gonna think I stole it from
them. They're gonna think I stole it from
them. In fact, it's almost like a double smack in the face. Not only did you steal my ish, but you didn't even get on my album. It's like a double smack.
Yeah, it's crazy.
This album, and as we see this record coming,
and I wonder if he didn't get on the album because he didn't want to be the tie back to people saying you definitely stole from.
You definitely stole from
because you was definitely on that album.
Yeah, like if he already knew, like I'm taking that.
It's crazy.
Into the music world and try to win back everything he lost and all of the ground that has been taken, as Kendrick Lamar has had the greatest run we have ever seen from a rapper. When you put everything together, it seems clear that from here on out, while we don't know how all of this is going to end yet, if we compare the acclaim and excitement that GNX got when it dropped to the laughter and indifference we are seeing here that is really turning into disdain already, well then SS for You may end up being an even bigger mess than we originally thought. And so now with all this said, let me know. What do you think of this?
I think it's just a crazy situation. From social media, everything I've seen, it's just mixed views. Some people love it, some people hate it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Some people are in between. I'm like one of the people that are in between. Like some of the songs to me are decent. I think like the first 12 songs was like manageable. I remember the energy up during the reaction was up. We was having fun with the album. But when it went past song 12, then the energy started to die down.
I feel like the first 12 songs were manageable.
Yeah.
I feel like from song, he could have really just ran from song 5 to 12.
Yeah. That's probably the best.
That was the meat of the album.
That's probably the best right there.
Yeah.
Too. I'm between there. And I think my favorite song was Give Me a Hug on there because that's the song he was addressing certain situations, Joe Budden situations, and the Kendrick situation a little bit.
Speaking his mind a little bit.
Definitely speaking my mind. Before we get out with the video, if you didn't like, subscribe, leave a comment. Make sure you do that. Until our next video, it's Trey TV.
It's Lamar Wilson.
And we out.